Hi everyone. I'm excited to be here. And do you hear me well, by the way? Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, so today I'm going to speak about AI code assistants and in terms of Python, of course, and how to choose the best one. So just a couple of words about me. My name is Daria. And I work as a data scientist at SLB. It's oil and gas company. I'm in AWS community builder since last August. I try to write on Medium, like periodically. I try to be active on LinkedIn. So if you find me there, I will be happy to connect. And I like learning, knowledge sharing, like all the stuff related to machine learning, NLP. So I'm just trying to be active. So let's have a look at our agenda today. The first item is pretty fast and pretty boring. What is AI code assistant? And then we will take a closer look on 3 of them. Here, Amazon CodeWhisperer, GitHub Copilot, and like GPT-4, ChatGPT, like plus version. And we will compare them. We will look at different aspects and see the additional features and do sort of conclusions. So first, like kind of boring stuff, sorry, but let's agree on that. What is AI code assistant? It's a software tool which uses like artificial intelligence and helps developers in writing code. You can guide them by prompts, and it generates code or provides suggestions like in real time while you code. And this March, Stack Overflow held a big survey about using AI tools in coding process, where like 90,000 developers participated. And there are interesting results that 70% are already using or plan to use AI tools in their development process. 77% feel favorable towards like doing so. Yeah, 1/3 see increase in productivity as the most important benefit of using AI tools, and 42% like trust the accuracy of the output. Yeah, so it's kind of sounds fun, right? But there are a lot of questions here. Like, we still don't know, is it safe? Is it reliable to use such code assistants? Can we trust the generated code? Will it be valid, accurate? And if we choose to trust or like to try them, how to choose the best one here? And yeah, there are a lot of questions here. And with doing this like quick intro, let's take a look at like 3 code assistants that are more or less popular now. It's Amazon CodeWhisperer, like developed by AWS, which is guided by prompts, by your comments in English and your prior code in your IDE. And similar to it, like GitHub Copilot, it was created by GitHub, and it uses your prompts and the like current workspace. So it's kind of also analyzing code that you have already. And for like comparison, I decided to take ChatGPT, like GPT plus, GPT-4 or code interpreter plugin, which is quite new. It's kind of experimental ChatGPT model. It can use Python, so it can run an environment. It can handle uploads and downloads. So yeah, it was interesting to have it for comparison, like an advanced version for coding. So yeah, and by the way, the quick question: tried to use like any of these code assistants in your development process? Yeah, and who liked? Okay, okay. So let's do a quick comparison of all of three of them. Yeah, about first concern about privacy. So Amazon CodeWhisperer and GitHub Copilot have options. So you can choose whether you want to share your code, like the generated code, or not to share for further like learning and development of the assistant. So you kind of can have this privacy, at least you agree or disagree with it. But for like GPT-4, there is no such option. Moving further about price, CodeWhisperer is free for individuals, GitHub Copilot free for students, and for individuals, it's $10 per month with free trial. And GPT-4 Code Interpreter plugin is available under ChatGPT Plus subscription, which is like $20 per month. About IDE support, Amazon CodeWhisperer and GitHub Copilot both can be used in JetBrains and Visual Studio Code, and GPT-4 has no IDE support. About data, I was curious what kind of data was used to fine-tune these assistants. Like AWS doesn't reveal it. Yeah, it just vast amount of publicly available code. GitHub Copilot claims, GitHub claims that it used all languages that appear in public repositories, kind of. So they use the same codex model as GPT, but fine-tune it on its public repositories. And GPT-4 Code Interpreter plugin was like the underlying model was fine-tuned on GitHub repositories, like different like other code repositories. And yeah, in terms of usage, if we use, for example, Amazon CodeWhisperer, it can provide references to its suggestions. Was it not the case for GitHub Copilot and GPT-4 Code Interpreter? And what about explanations of suggestions? So kind of reasoning, why did you suggest me this or that? So there is no such option for CodeWhisperer and GitHub Copilot. And yeah, GPT-4 provides like explanations. CodeWhisperer and GitHub Copilot both can provide multiple suggestions, but it's not always the case, but okay. GPT-4 provide only one answer, but theoretically you can regenerate its response. None of them can be used offline. And yeah, CodeWhisperer and Copilot can access local files and GPT-4 no. So I just decided to play with three of them and I created kind of like a repository where I keep this code. If you're curious, you can have a look. And I decided to evaluate like code quality, like different aspects. How well the generated code works, how it's like, was it stylish, how easy it is to understand what's going on, what about security, what about creativeness, can it help with unit tests, with some debugging or troubleshooting? So let's have a look at security aspects. So common security vulnerabilities are like SQL injections, like in the previous talk, we talked a little bit about revealed secrets, right? About directory traversal, when you have exact paths to your files, like outputted and printed directly in your code. And when your code take user input and doesn't handle it, so user can potentially do some harmful stuff. Yeah, and I decided to have some prompts here. Some of them were tricky. I pretended to reveal my like kind of secrets or like passwords. And I decided to see how these code assistants can understand what about security. So results kind of interesting. For example, like if you have a look at Amazon CodeWhisperer code snippet here, it doesn't handle user input. So you can potentially user can enter a name of any local file and this file will be read. Like GitHub Copilot fine with outputting your like credentials. So you can change this stuff to actual credentials. So it doesn't handle it. GPT-4 code interpreter plugin, what I liked here is that it provides a nice like security advice. So if you want to connect to database, please store your like secrets in environmental file. But we need to take into account is that it's a language model. So it's the output can vary. And if it like advise you to store your secrets separately in one case, it can like totally forget about it in another case. What about the next aspect, like code readability, style, quality aspects? So what makes the code good? Is the code, if the code easy to follow, if it like follows the style guide, and if it does what it's supposed to do. And I just created simple cases, like create a calculator class or text preprocessing class. And I asked chat AI assistants to do so. And what was interesting, because I consider code style is something pretty simple, because even your IDE like PyCharm can like underline what is not stylish and can have can provide you tips and suggestions how to tune it here. But yeah, for example, for Amazon CodeWhisperer, line 34 from the middle of nowhere, like import from package. And GitHub Copilot, this list with numbers and commas and no spaces, like it was kind of disturbing for me. Again, in terms of quality and readability, when I asked for something from Amazon CodeWhisperer, it was just, it just provided a response as it is. So it didn't care to wrap it in like many cases, it didn't care to wrap it in even into a function. So, and it just like solved problems pretty straightforward, like line by line. GitHub Copilot did a better job here, so we can see like these wrappings into functions. But again, for example, I asked for geodata visualization and I got just scatterplot. Kind of interesting stuff. And for example, I asked to run different machine learning models and to compare results, and I got like linear regression plotting function, or like the call of linear regression plotting function, and I didn't have a function, so it didn't like provide me a function. So it was kind of strange in terms of quality. In general, GPT-4 code interpreter did a better job, but yeah, not always. Kind of classic stuff. If you want to clean your data, you want to remove duplicates, you want to impute missing values, but instead of using pandas like one line function, it was like something, it tried to, I don't know what was the purpose of it. Yeah, list dict from keys, like, I don't know. The next aspect is creativity. So what can they do, or can they impress? So can AI code assistants impress us? Can they do kind of improvisation? Can they understand like how to visualize stuff? And I asked to create a visualization for different types of data, like categorical or numerical or like time series. and create some simple Streamlit applications. So what I got a sense of in terms of creativity, Amazon CodeWhisperer, I got a sense that it just stole some code from Stack Overflow or from some repository, and it tried to like sell it for me. Yeah. So I asked for geodata visualization, and it was a reading from file volcanoes, and it was trying to, I don't know, maybe plot volcanoes. Or when I tried to handle the data, it was going through like, concrete columns like price, rating, review count. So yeah, it didn't adapt it to my needs. Yeah, about GitHub Copilot, when I asked for categorical data visualization, I got only bar plot. So kind of poor imagination here. And here are examples of graphs which I got from different AI code assistants. So it would be fair to say here that Amazon CodeWhisperer and GitHub Copilot didn't output these graphs, so they provided only the code, and I used my like dummy data to have these graphs created. And GPT-4 itself, it imported some data like test data set, and it generated these images. So I just downloaded them and placed it there. And in terms of like Streamlit applications, the most suitable maybe and creative results were put by GPT-4 code interpreter. So it was like, they were concise, they were like actually working, and they did what I asked here. So I asked to, for example, I asked to compare different machine learning models, and it provided me some kind of linear regression, random forest, and I could upload my data and have the results. And about CodeWhisperer and GitHub Copilot, I would consider their created Streamlit application as drafts, because style was not very good here. There were some confusing options, and they were not working as expected in most cases. So it's kind of good draft and good starting point, but not the complete application. The next aspect is code testing. So writing unit test, it's kind of boring process, and it's good to have this automated if AI code assistant could help us in this process. So here, and good unit tests, they test your code for different scenarios. They take into account edge cases. So and they can understand what the code is for. So what I found, Amazon CodeWhisperer is kind of doesn't know about unit test, and it even doesn't output any code. Yeah, GitHub Copilot outputs some code, so like assertions. It's not like perfect unit test, but it's some testing. It's better than nothing, right? GPT-4 code interpreter here, it creates unit tests. It takes into account some edge scenarios. So kind of, I see it's kind of have imagination, and it's interesting that it's even tried to run this test in this Python environment and check whether test like go or fail or not, and try to even like mock some packages which it doesn't have access to. For example, it tried to mock an LTK package. And the next aspect is debugging or troubleshooting. So here we can stack over the process in many cases. when we have like code with errors, like broken logic, with some code is missing, where we have some typos. So it's good to have an assistant help in this process. But yeah, so for example, when we have, when I had some kind of code with logic issue, yeah, Amazon CodeWhisperer didn't understand me. So it just tried to, yeah, you see, assertion, at least assertion was created. Yeah, GitHub Copilot, by the way, did a good job with finding these typos in code and fixing them. But like neither CodeWhisperer nor Copilot understand like error in, for example, using a package. So I tried to create a simple data frame with pandas package. Yeah, and you can see that one column is shorter than the other. So like CodeWhisperer Copilot didn't understand that. GPT-4 just came up with solutions so we can pad the shorter column, the shorter list with non-values, so the data frame could be created. And yeah, with saying that, let's talk about additional features. Amazon CodeWhisperer has like security scans, but it's fair to say that it is limited option in individual version. Also, fun feature, it can solve lit code based on a link. But you know, like the ability to solve lit code doesn't make you by automatically the funniest, the coolest guy in the room, right? GitHub Copilot has a lot of like additional features or even like plugins. All of them are like in beta version or like preview mode. So you can try to use Copilot Voice, Copilot Chat, Copilot X is for like pull request support, or you can use Copilot Labs, where you can have your code explained. You can translate from one language to another, like, I mean, code language, not natural human language. And it has a range of brushes. So you can like, you can have your code and maybe fix back or clean it or add automatically add types. But it's fair to say that these brushes don't always don't always work as intended. So you can like you can have your code and like, for example, click fix bug, and it will be like changed or modified some unexpectedly. So yeah, I said that it's in preview version, so you need to be like attentive here. And about GPT-4 code interpreter, yeah, it is fun in and interesting to try in terms of interaction with user. So you can upload and download files. It can spin up an environment for code running. So yeah, it supports a wide variety of topics like besides the code. And what's interesting, you can even upload your data without saying, so this data is categorical or numerical, and it will try to generate some insights. And you can provide like some broad or long instructions. So it's better in a way of human understanding and human interaction. And like, instead of conclusions, it's, you know, it's not a final stage here, because they all have a rapid growth and they constantly develop. I think, like, to my mind, they are good helpers. They can increase productivity. They can like speed up development. You don't need to spend your time on searching for some piece of code or exact function, but you need to be attentive, because they can output some unpredicted code. And so again, you need a human in the loop. The output should be checked and validated. And there are security concerns here. And that's why companies like many companies still don't allow to use them. So, yeah, thank you very much. And I don't know whether we have questions.
Okay, I think we can have a quick question if anybody wants to do it.
Yep, please. So the question is, I will repeat the question. The question is about the length of comments here. So yeah, there is a suggestion if we like extend the comment, we can have a more detailed output. You know that unfortunately I tried to have a more detailed version of prompts of my comments, but GitHub Copilot and Amazon CodeWhisperer like couldn't handle it, and they even outputted nothing. So I just tried to shrink it here. It's not the case for GPT-4 code interpreter, yeah, but I tried to be fair to all like assistants, so I used short ones. Thank you.
A round of applause.